you can see we were at 1900 meters, 70 centimeters, so a little bit above my knee height, and we did some snowpack tests, that whole business of banging, column, tap, 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 nothing. So, happy about that. And here is, oh, there's gonna be no sound. Dang it. Hold on. If you all hold your breath.
My name is Olivia. I work for the Sun.
That's what we call a live stream.
Well settled snowpack. A couple of laminated crusts near the surface, but nothing to be concerned about. No faceting above or below. Something along those lines.
Awesome. As a long-term Fernie patroller, ask Olivia if she's ever been in a snow pit that shallow before. Oh yeah. Yeah, sorry about the noise. So you get the idea. See how we staged that sled behind artfully? Okay, so that's it for the three areas that we've been to. So now I'm gonna run through a slide here to give you some suggestions about where you can find out information about things before you go out. So on the web, avalanche.ca. Avalanche.ca, if you go to avalanche.ca, that's where you get the map. And on the map, there are different zones. We'll have a look in just a second. And a really great learning training course, self-directed training course, is at avisavvy.ca. So in here, you'll find, in these two places, you'll find forecasts, assistance in planning, learning stuff, and that glossary that I mentioned. Same thing occurs in an app. Go to the App Store or Google Play thing, and you're looking for this blue triangle with what's meant to be 3 avalanches coming down, and Avalanche Canada there. Social media at those places. So the first one is Olivia and I and Lisa. Every day that we go out, we make a post with what we saw. So that one where Olivia's sitting in the snow pit talking, that's on there, and then you'll get the actual information. And the other thing, the stake in the ground with 45, that's up there, and so on. So that one is us. This one is Avalanche Canada. Remember Revelstoke Forecasting Office? That's more general avalanche information, super valuable. And then this one here, big shout out. So there's a thing called the Forecasters Update that you may have seen that Tyler presents. Once the season gets going, it's about once a week, or when there's something really significant or different to see. It's basically Tyler talking about, remember how we've looked at Corbin, we looked at Beer, we looked at whatever. He's talking about what's going on with ski. So you must, I'm forever telling people what they should do. You might think about, do it now, follow each one of those. And if you don't have the app already, keep it. Weather resources, and with weather resources, note that, I've written here little tiny letters, actuals versus a forecast. So if I tell you, if you ask me, is it going to rain tomorrow, I will look at a forecast. Different from, I open the door and look out and it's raining right now, that's an actual. So some places you go to, it looks like real information, but it's a forecast, and weather forecasts get pretty clever these days, so it could easily be accurate. But understand the difference between an actual reading of exactly what's happening right now in this minute and what somebody or some computer thinks might happen. So, avalanche.ca, kind of bigging up the home team here, aren't we? Avalanche.ca, there's fantastic weather there at /weather. There's also weather at mountainweather.ca. That one, if you drill in a little bit, you can get Fernie outlines, different information. There's a weather station on top of Polar Peak, and one at the main study plot, which is that complex thing as you go up the bear chair, just before you get the top, it's on your left. Skifernie.com conditions, which is Ron Lakeland's mountain, used to be called Mountain Weather, I'm not sure if it is now. Yeah. Which is a great readout of what's going on. And then for an idea of what's happening on the continental side, on the east side of my wiggly yellow line, then you can go to skicastle.ca snow report. So this is Castle Mountain Ski Resorts weather stuff. They have full-time running actual things, temperature, wind, etc. And they have a bit of talking about what they think is going to happen. And cameras are fantastic for actuals, aren't they? And everybody knows about the grizz. Wake up in the morning, first thing you do, click on the grizz, did it snow, skiing, or coffee shop, I don't know. Highway cameras are really great, and down. There's cameras everywhere. So let's look at get right. Great. I was just expecting the whistle to go in. Okay, so today's forecast. And when I say forecast now, I'm talking about what most people, including me, call bulletin. It's more properly called the avalanche forecast. So today's bulletin is found on avalanche.ca. As we said, there's the map where it is, or on your app. Go to here, click on the sub-region you're interested in. It used to be that the regions were fixed, and we were in the South Rockies, Lizard Range, and you click on that, it would never change. Now, regions are amalgamated, split up, or belong together if they have the same conditions. So every time you look at it, it might be a little bit different. It's not broken. It's for purpose. Yes. So, great. See the little blue dots? This is where you come in. The little blue dots are part of the Mountain Information Network, or MIN, we talk about. So again, we find these on avalanche.ca on the web or on the app. It's the little blue teardrops, like this thing here. And these are live reports from anybody who was out in the woods or the non-woods and saw something. See something, say something. You don't have to be an expert to take a picture. You don't have to be an expert to go, holy shit, it was windy today. Good enough. That's really helpful. Pictures are most helpful because those highly experienced experts in Revelstoke that I mentioned, they can look at your picture when you may or may not have realized that that was a cornice about to drop or a rippled surface from the wind happening or whatever, but they'll see that in the picture and get tons of information out of it. So don't be afraid or reluctant to just, come back from a ski tour, post a picture, and go and relax. That will be already great information. Here's the perfect thing. If the perfect MIN report would have any one of these things. Was there weather? So just make a note. It was windy, it wasn't, it was sunny, it was hot, it was freezing cold, whatever it was. Really, really useful information. Did you see an avalanche? Yes or no, picture of it. Perfect. Any other information would be even better. How big was it? Was it on north? Was it on south? Was it really wide? Was it a loose snow avalanche? Was it a slab? All the things you can add, but just saying, I was at Harvey and there was a giant avalanche. Good enough. Do you know the writing was good? Great, that's an expression of maybe the surface was icy, maybe it was powdery, whatever. Some information there. And signs of instability. You've done your AST course, you know exactly what that is. If you don't know what that means, great time to book an avalanche course. Whoopsie, if you see something, say something, and you do that by creating your own little blue dot on the web or in the app. While I'm talking MIN, up here on the wall behind Jake, I've posted 1 to 7. If you're not familiar with creating and posting a MIN, 1 to 7 are the 7 simple steps to make a MIN. Alistair will be happy to move at the appropriate time. Okay, it's not all about avalanche. Make sure you have a plan. Guys, can you enjoy this a bit more, please? Run! It's been hours. What's good? That's a sled track. That's right. Okay. So, that's all I got for a moment. These are all the people that support Avalanche Canada in various ways, from biggest money to smallest but highly appreciated money at the bottom there. Thank you very much to those folks. So now is the period for your thoughts, your questions, and we'll discuss. The idea is, and the whole reason that we're all here tonight, is to learn from each other and share information. That's what the MIN business is, to share information to keep ourselves safer. Okay, who has a thought?
Go. If you see a bear, you should run.
You should not run.
Yeah.
Great question.
I have a question.
Great.
You mentioned a couple of times that if the snow is below stumps, it's more stable. So if we're touring early season and we see like the tops of trees, then we should feel more safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine, so this expression, threshold, below threshold, imagine you're on the beach and there's a bunch of rocks on the beach of different heights and so on, and the tide comes in, and the tide is the snow. So just think about that. Okay, I'm on the bare beach, it's summertime, sand, bare rocks, tide comes in a bit, the rocks are all filled up halfway, probably, as long as the rocks are close enough together, probably no hazard. It's once the snow or the ocean gets in and covers all those rocks so that no longer anything sticking out, what you now have is a flat, smooth surface that the next snowfall can sit on and move easily without being anchored by sticky, uppy things. Does that make sense? Any other thoughts?
So we're going to take a little 10-minute break here. Grab yourself another beer, get yourself settled in. Up next is Robin Siggers. He's going to talk about Liz Range, touring, safe travel techniques, and 48 years of local knowledge. If you have questions for Duncan, he'll be wandering about, and check out his 7 steps for the MIN report over there. And we'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Let's feel a bit. Yeah, what we're gonna do. So what's here? No, I know. That's not what I mean, Robin. Right now, that's what we're gonna make this. Yeah, they are. The issue is Duncan. I want to drag the screen back over that screen back on this screen. Okay.
So the mouse, right, there's the mouse. So it's like this screen is here.
Yeah.
So watch the mouse.
Okay.
We go over here.
Yeah.
And now it's going to disappear.
It's gonna go there. Bring this here so I can see. Yeah.
So and then you go up to
It's projecting 2 screens right now. So we just need to drag it away.
Yeah, forget what I was saying. Don't worry about this. Remember that I did my slide. That just starts the slide.
Okay.
Just start it there.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
your words. Your words on.
There was a little, I had this thing. Like we talk about ski cutting. And it's like a link. Like you just need to put the link in the YouTube video. Get a try. Done.
Yeah.
Like it's the link, but you can't click on the link because
It's not okay.
you would have to. I don't know if you've got another way to get to the slide.
There's a link in the
It's not a link, it's just a site. Like so, you have to copy and paste it into the bar.
Okay, well,
Okay.
doesn't matter.
I think I'll just wing it the way I am.
Okay. And you got the clicky thing? Oh.
What's his name's got a microphone? Should I use the mic?
Yeah.
Oh, is it what?
Yeah. No. It'd be great if there wasn't like. Yeah. No, the real things to learn. Like,
Maybe 4 on the stars. 5 at the end.
yeah. Yeah, that sounds perfect. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll get started here.
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready to try not to bore you too much here. So yeah, I'm Robin, and I came here in 1977, and I was fortunate enough to hook up with a crew of dedicated ski tours, and we got to explore the Lizard Range. It was just a fabulous experience. The terrain was all new to a lot of us. We got to put the names on some of these places and ski in places that people hadn't been there. We did the first ski trip to the Three Sisters. You all paid $25 and they flew a couple of loads of us to the top of the Three Sisters. And none of us really knew if we could even get down because, you look at the face with the binoculars and how steep is it? And, it was definitely a bit of a nerve-wracking time. So I stand here on the shoulders of giants, and I consider myself lucky to be here because we didn't have all this fantastic information that Duncan was sharing and how to find all this stuff out. So we were going by a little bit of the seat of our pants. Now I'm coming at this from a ski patroller's mentality. As a ski patrol and working in Fernie Alpine Resort, our goal was to go and find avalanches, make avalanches. And I still have that mindset a little bit, like you want to go and find those avalanches before they find you. So that's my perspective, that's my take on it. And I would have to say over the course of my ski touring career, I guess, is my risk tolerance, I guess you could say, is a little less. Sometimes I feel like now I can almost go ski touring without a beacon because I just avoid risk for the most part. Now, you're not going to want to do that all the time. But you can have a great time skiing. I would say not so much I avoid the risk. I find value out of skiing where it's safer. I just find as much value in being chill in the backcountry and not being scared for my life the whole time because we're trying to do something we probably shouldn't be doing. So, having said that, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the safe travel techniques that we have used and I have used and we've developed as habits. These are my habits. I just do them all the time, no matter what the conditions. I'm going to talk about the fishbowl as to frame some of these things. How many people plan to ski in the fishbowl this winter? Not everyone. Some. How many people have skied there before and had incredible conditions? Anybody ever had a problem? Big problem? Small problem?
Medium problem.
Medium?
Just buried my legs.
Just buried you a little bit. Where?
At the bottom of the fish, last over.
The bottom?
Just skiing into 2000 from the top.
And got bottom in the bottom of fish.
That was the last pitch.
The last pitch, okay. Anyone else? Problems in there?
We put the snowboard up and it's get failed out about halfway out. So leave. It's gear failed.
Gear failure. Okay, well, yeah, these are things that can happen. So you're going skiing, you're going backcountry skiing. How many people plan to backcountry ski this winter? Okay, so you're going to go backcountry skiing. So what do you need before you go? Like you're going, you just go? Do you just meet up your friends? Hey, let's go ski the fishbowl? Or what kind of things do you do? Well, yeah, I have a little bit of avalanche education. That's always a good idea, yeah. Pardon me?
A well-defined contour.
Oh, nice one. Have a bit of a plan where you're going. What kind of things do you want to know before you head out there?
Conditions.
Like what kind of conditions?
Conditions, weather forecast.
Yeah, weather forecast, what's going to do.
Avalanche hazard?
Avalanche hazard. Good things to know before you head into the fishbowl.
The snake is open.
Absolutely. Especially when you're my age. Going up from the bottom is a lot harder than it used to be. So now you have all these terrific products. The Avalanche Bulletin. Fantastic information. Like, it's just, I use it all the time. I absolutely use it before I go. But I kind of watch it every day, no matter whether I'm going or not. The snowpack is a developing situation over the winter. The more you follow it, the more you read it, the more you look at the weather and how the snowpack is developing, the better equipped you're going to be. If I'm going to McMurdo or I'm going up to Golden, I will start looking at the snowpack there now, even if I'm not going till February. So what do? Pick a color? Good to go. Green, good to go. Do whatever. What do these colors mean? Do you just pick a color? Who just picks a color and says, that's good, we're good? Who does that? Sometimes that's what I do. Sort of. When you're talking with your friends, it's yellow today. We're good. Who does that? Be honest. Yeah, I see you nod. Great. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Sometimes, yellow, green, yeah. That's usually pretty reasonable. Orange, considerable. Lots of bad things happen in considerable, because that's when you're thinking safe enough to go, but that's when sometimes it's just not. This is the stuff you want to look at. The avalanche activity. Find avalanches. Like I say, I need to find the avalanches. In my world, what's the best indicator of avalanche activity? Avalanches. You see avalanches, there's avalanche activity. So the avalanche summary, and in here, and I don't just look in the region I'm going, I look all over. I have access to the InfoX, which is every avalanche operation and commercial operations and the field teams reporting their daily weather, avalanche activity, snowpack, avalanche hazard, you name it, it's on there. So I go through there and I look at all the avalanches. That's the first thing I look at, avalanches that have happened. That's what I want to know. Snowpack summary, yeah, it's good to know what's going on. This one's pretty straightforward because it's yellow and there's only a little bit of snow. This is fairly recent. The MIN reports, I always look at the MIN reports as well because that's real avalanche information. That's where people have gone out and found the dragon, tickled it, and got away with it for the most part. So look at those. I love the photos. If you're posting a MIN, post the photos of the crown. And the best way to learn about avalanches is see avalanches. And make avalanches, to be honest, like ski cutting. It's a skill I'll talk about later. But seeing avalanches, and luckily in Fernie, if you ski at the ski hill, you get to see lots of them. Look at them. See where the crowns are. Where did it break on the slope? How far down the slope? So you can pick where you think, if you're out on the backcountry and you want to ski cut a slope, where's it going to break? These are things you should know instinctively or learn. And I'll talk about ski cutting later, but it's a vital skill. Okay, snowpack evaluation.
Is that you, Robin?
Maybe. So how well do you know the snowpack? And how do you find out? How well do you know the snowpack? Yellow picker. How well do you know the snowpack?
Pretty good, most years. Yeah.
Pretty good. Okay, how do you find out?
I get out there.
Get out there. Okay, good.
Now,
What's that?
I like the colors.
Smell? I like to taste it. So yeah, you need to have some idea what's going on in snowpack. Okay, so what is this? What does it tell you? You go look at the snowpack. What does it tell you? What kind of things?
Where the weak layers are.
Where the weak layers are. Yeah, that's good. Any other, what, I mean, you guys are going backcountry skiing. How do you find out about the snowpack? Okay, some of the things you can see, if you dig a profile, and if you go to a new area, you better dig a profile to the ground and find out what you're dealing with. Don't just take Avalanche Canada's word for it. Like, you know, it's not even any sound on their video. So, okay, see, these are the big things you need to know. Like, is there a deep slab? Is there a rain crust, 70, 80, 100, 2 meters, whatever it is? Is there a weak faceted base underneath the 2 meter snowpack? Is there a rain crust in there with a faceted layer over a rain crust? Is there a surface soil layer 50, 60 down that's going to be, you know, trigger and propagate over a large area? So you're looking for crust, you're looking for surface soil, blah, blah, blah. But the deep stuff is, if there's a weak base, then, you know, now you're into a low probability, high consequence event. Do you know what that is? That's when the thing, chances of it going are low. You see that a lot when you have considerable hazard for an extended period of time. Nothing's happening, but if it does, it's going to be huge. The gentleman that triggered the Orca Bowl from wall to wall a couple meters deep found one of those a couple years ago, and that was an early season facet layer at the base. It snowed like crazy, and then the whole snowpack was coming off the mountain, size 3, 3.5, 4. So the profile would tell you that when you get into those high consequence, low probability winters, that's where I shut it down for the winter. Until that has somehow healed or gone away, big lines are off the table. Conservative terrain choices only, no open faces, no alpine, ski in the trees, and use safety measures. So those are the kinds of things you want to know about the snowpack. You don't want to be walking into you go up to Golden or Banff, they have that all the time, all winter, every winter. I was teaching a course in Lake Louise with some folks and out skiing the Hidden Bowl, I think it's called, out around the corner. And I took my group and I skied a line that I thought was super conservative, like it was 30 degrees. And the lead instructor told me after, it's like, you shouldn't have skied that. You should not go near that terrain. It's like, you Fernie guys. Because I just used to this snowpack where steeper terrain is more acceptable. In those areas, I was at the Bull Hut once, and me and my buddies are looking across at some slope and going, wow, that looks awesome. And this guy beside us, he goes, nobody skis there. I go, okay, we know there. So you do your snow profile, you do your snow test. Are you willing to bet your life on it? Do you have the skills to tell whether the snow's going to slide or not slide? No, you don't. And that's my point, is you need to know the general conditions, but if there's a hazard, a considerable danger, the snowpack, and there's avalanches in the area, deciding to ski something big and bold, well, you're rolling the dice. Here's Brad White, and this is a really good video that Bruce Javison put out. It's about the changes in the workplace for avalanche safety workers. And they talk about what's changed in the avalanche patch over the years. He's talking about 2 highways workers very skilled in snowpack evaluation. One of them is, they're both friends of mine. And they dug a profile on the slope, and then they skied it, and they were both killed. So they knew the snowpack. They were real experts in the snowpack, and it still killed them anyways. So these are lessons to be learned, that you can't trust it. Here's a Snake Ridge fracture line. This one kind of hits home to me because about 2 days before this, I was skiing up to my neck in Hilda's run up in the Bears there on their Island Lake. And I mean, it was definitely the best day of powder skiing I've had. And then 2 days later, this thing rips out 4 meters deep, all the way around Snake Ridge and into Fishbowl. It was 2 kilometer fracture line, 3 to 4 meters deep, on a rain crust at the bottom of the snowpack. It was called, the layer was the band of shit. There was a rain runnel layer. It snowed on it a few centimeters, and it nobody wanted to ski it because it was so crappy, because it was only 10 centimeters on this brutal rain runnel rain crust. So it just sat there till it snowed, and nobody skied it or tracked it or did anything. Well, then the snowpack built up on top of it. Now, I mean, I was skiing Hilda's the day before, but I was using safety measures. I was being careful, but you know, you can only be so careful when you're skiing Hilda's. But we were skiing ridges. We were staying spread out. I mean, it did rain 65 millimeters the day this happened, so things had changed a bit, but I had no idea that rain crust down there could do that. So you're only ever going to know so much about the snowpack. You're only ever going to be, you know, don't bet your life on it. Okay, so getting out to the Fishbowl, you know, some of the things we talk about, like I always believe in staying spread out, spacing when you're crossing through avalanche terrain. And that means only having one person in any given avalanche path at a time. So that can be difficult sometimes, especially when you're switchbacking up some terrain. Now, for example, in the Cedar Bowl, when we go across the Cedar Bowl as patrollers first thing in the morning and we're concerned about stability, how far do you think we spread out? Any guesses? How many people how many people should be in this picture at once? Yeah, maybe. That'd be a lot, you know, like if I'm waiting at the top of the bear till the person's at Snake Ridge, then it's going to take us 40 minutes to get there. But, you know, there's an avalanche path here, there's a bit of a gap, and there's another avalanche path. So yeah, I would if there's one person here, the next person needs to be, you know, over here. So I'll be here if this person's entering here and out of this slide path at least. That's an example. You know, that's half a kilometer apart. So sometimes it's farther than you think. If you're all trucking along together, close together, well, if you all get caught in the same avalanche, you're done. That's it, game over. So you try and avoid that at all costs. So you're heading out to Fishbowl. So a lot of you are familiar with this terrain, I think, and maybe some not, but I was asked to talk about the Fishbowl, so that's what I'm going to do. If you're new to Fernie, this will be interesting. Okay, so as soon as you get here, it's your decision point. Are you still going? You're leaving the boundary. As soon as you leave that, you're in avalanche path. You're in a starting zone. This little thing right here, yeah, that's an avalanche starting zone. As soon as you go under these cliffs, and this is all steep terrain, this is an avalanche path. There's the run up there. There's a little gap here. There's another avalanche. Oops, I'll go backwards. You know, that's an avalanche path. And then, I don't know what happened to all the trees out here, but these okay, so before you go out there, you've done what? What did you do?
Forecast.
You got a weather forecast in your mind, what the weather's going to be like, so you dress appropriately. You have read the bulletin. You have an idea what the stability's like out there. You know where the big problems are. Pardon me? Talk to the patrol. They'd be happy to give you information. Absolutely. Okay, so, you head up there. Now, going out in the fishbowl, yeah, there's some issues. As soon as you get out there, like I say, you've got starting zones right here. There's probably a little bit of trees here. When you go down, even just dropping in the fish shots, you go down there a part way, and then it gets really steep right in there. These little transitions in terrain, that's what you need to start seeing when you're out there. You need to start looking at slope angle. Slope angle is the number one thing. How steep is it? It's steep enough to slide. And that changes constantly. Sometimes, it takes a good steep pitch. Sometimes not. Sometimes it doesn't take, it's not that ready in the morning. A few more centimeters, a little bit of wind blowing on top. Now it'll start to slab up and go on shallower angle terrain. Small changes in terrain, small changes in slope angle. Those are the things, that's how you read the terrain. Minute changes. Look for gullies, look for ridges, look for convexities. And start seeing that stuff. Now you're going out here. The other thing is you need to have, awareness of the whole situation. So some of the safety measures, group spacing, spread out. Just, you can talk to your friend or smoke a joint when you get to the top of the climb. You don't have to do it in the middle of a slide path. One at a time. Now the other thing is situational awareness. Just when you're out there, that's part of the beauty of being in the backcountry is it's a deadly environment. The learning curve is steep, the consequences are severe, but the rewards are great. So you just have to be, you have to soak it all in. You have to be looking at everything, every little thing. Where am I now in the terrain? Am I in a slide path? Am I under a slide path? Is this snow slabby? Is it windy? Where are we going? Are we sticking to our plan? How fast are we going? Situational awareness. Am I under any cornices? Are there any other groups out here? Have a plan. So having a plan is also having a plan if things go sideways. What do you do if, your buddy blows his knee out? Which can happen. Something as simple as that. Just get on your GPS and call the patrol. Depends where you are. Fernie search and rescue. Okay, think about when it's not so bluebird. It's cloudy, it's foggy. There's not going to be any flying to come and get you. You're going to be there for a while. So have a plan. Where are you going? Have a mindset. Does anybody familiar with the mindset? Roger Akins developed this a few years ago. Avalanche workers adopted it immediately. Your mindset is like, are you stepping out? Are you stepping back? Are you status quo? Are you evaluating? Or are you entrenched in nobody moves, nobody gets hurt? So we use that all the time, and we stick to it. You step out slowly, you step back quickly. So you're going in the fishbowl. There's this area here. Yeah, there's a bunch of trees here usually. You can see in this picture there's definitely cornice debris has come all the way down the bowl. So when, how many people when they go to fishbowl, they go all the way across the top route? How many do that? Yeah, I'm going to go up 2,000, but, I will go over here so I get a nice run over here. If I'm more concerned, a little more hazard, I'll just ski down here, but you're still in an avalanche path, but not under the cornices. Now cornices, yeah, Fishbowl has the biggest cornices in the lizard range. They're very spectacular. And my experience heli bombing, yeah, sometimes we take rocks or bricks because we don't want to waste the explosives, because that's all it takes to knock off a fresh cornice. Cornices are very tender right after big storms. They are literally, that would be enough to knock it off. The size of this bar. So now the other thing people don't really know, I don't think it's general knowledge, is the cornices like to fall off with severe drops in temperature. So you get a bluebird day, it's gone from -6 to -26. That's when cornices like to fall off for some reason. The shrinkage, and they just snap off. So you think you're out there on a bluebird beauty day and a chunk of cornice falls off in fishbowl, sorry, and these things will generally run down to these flats minimum. Sometimes they'll go all the way to the bottom. Okay, so yeah, you go out in fishbowl. When you're going across here, yeah, don't be close together in that area. Be spread out. Now the problem is you go over here to where the trees end, and then you all group up with your skin, take your skins off, and then ski. There's also, lots of steep terrain in the fishbowl. There's a steep bench here, and there's another steep bench here, and there's a couple of steep rolls, and there's a steep roll right here. When you're skiing in the fishbowl, keep an eye on each other. When you're skiing, I'll talk more about ski safety a bit. How was our time? Okay, so how many people like to do this line over to 2,000 foot to save time? Yeah. I mean, I've done it. This used to be the standard route, but that's, me and my buddies, like I say, that's why I'm lucky to be standing here, because just because that line's in there doesn't mean it's a good idea. You got to cross through all the gullies. You're crossing basically in the middle of the starting zone. Yeah, that's a high-risk idea. You better know your snow stability. It's good when you go across that line. And just because there's tracks on it. The main problem there is, are there people above you? If you're crossing in the middle of fishbowl, then hopefully there's not groups above it. So the standard lines, the green line is through the trees, through these trees. This one, you're out here a little more exposed because you're standing there longer under the cornices. You work right down, and then you get down to the gullies down here. And this, there's a concrete layer there. right around where this really starts to steepen up. And I mean, those bottom pitches in fishbowl, they're 40 degrees gully terrain. They're really high hazard. There's been incidents in there where, people just, let's go down there. It looks like there's no tracks, and they get down, especially snowboarders, unfortunately, as they get sucked in further and further into the terrain, they can't really go sideways. The standard exit, if you just ski fishbowl to get back to the ski area, is back across the top of Papa's Run here to around here. Now you are traversing on a little slightly benched piece of terrain. Over here, though, you're still traversing what I would call a starting zone. You're still influencing the starting zone. And if you're the first set coming back out of there when it's deep, it's a little nerve-wracking. And then, of course, Papa's Run down here drops right off, gets very steep. But this bench here, so when you ski the fishbowl, you've got to avoid some of the steep terrain here, the steep benches here, and get down to the gullies here, the top of the bench. The thing when you're skiing the fishbowl, a couple of steep pitches, they really drop off. You're almost like, and if you're skiing, where's your friend? Where's your partner? Did you just ski down? Did you split up? He's not seeing you. You drop off that steep pitch, trigger slab, you get buried. You didn't even know, they don't even know you're there. So don't let that happen to you. Stick together. When you get to these transitions, group up again at the top. Okay, we're going to go through here. Watch each other. Stick together when you're skiing. I'll talk more about ski descending and technique there in a minute. So yeah, now you got to cross these gullies. And they're pretty filled in this photo. But when you get down to the top of the bench, the first gully is the steepest and the ugliest. So that's where, I like to come in a bit high there, get past that, because if you go down here too low, right to the flats, you'll find you can't get across that first gully. So you start a little sooner, then you got to navigate these gullies, and there you are. Congratulations, you made it to the bottom of the climb safely. There's the gully, it's a little more defined. There's the steep gully. You can see how steep this terrain is here, and then you end up crossing these gullies to get across here. Any questions? So the climb up 2,000 is pretty straightforward, and now that people have done some brushing and stuff in there, it's pretty safe. Because some of the folks, Thomas, I don't know, you're in there with your saw, you've cut some of these. Some of these places used to be a bit gnarly and tight, and so you'd be tempted to go out onto the appetizers or up here somewhere, and you're just walking right out onto this starting zone because and then you got to make a switch back out there to get back into safety. I try not to do that anymore. I just stick to the safe line. It's just more relaxing. Then once you get to the top of the trees, then you start climbing now you're climbing, and this area here, there's definitely potential for wraparound on the ridge at this point. There's, if you're out there in a red day, well, good luck. But yeah, this is, now it gets a little more complicated. It's not quite so straightforward. You get tempted to go out here because this is, gets a bit steep over here, so you get tempted to deke out into here to get a kick turn in. Well, now you're right in the starting zone. You get up there, it gets really steep right here, just around here. Not really steep, but steep for climbing. So it gets a little tricky here. You can exit stage right and then work your way into the top of 2001. And then, the final pitch to the top, once you get past that last steep pitch, then you're on the summit ramps and you can go right to the peak without really any problems up on that upper summit ridges. Now, I'm going to talk about this a bit later, but this is 2,000 foot. Called that? Does anybody know why it's called that? Any guesses?
Because it's 1,200 feet.
I don't think it's meters.
Because it's 2,000.
That's right. We're going to have to change it to 650 foot slope, or 60. Yeah, we're going to have to change it because nobody knows what feet means anymore. So anyways, from up here somewhere, it's like 2,000 vertical feet of untracked, beautiful, planar, beautiful slope right to the bottom. This is what we call the 2001. So, and I'll talk more about this after. This has become my preferred area. It's just safer. And why do you think that is? Any guesses?
Less exposed.
Different aspect. It's not as sunny, so less sun crust.
The trees tied in the slab, so it's not as likely to go.
A few trees. Anything else?
Less steep.
It's not as steep. Winner, chicken dinner. Slope angle. Slope angle is the most important thing. If it's less steep, it's less likely to slide. These pitches out here are 35 to 40 degrees. It's 2,000 foot is right in the 38-degree sweet spot of avalanches, which they prefer. And I think this is maybe 37, 35. And there's trees you can use for a handrail. You laugh. Yeah, I was taking a dog course. I was a dog handler for a number of years. We got flown into a site up near I guess CMH Bugaboos or somewhere, and they dropped us off kind of up just out of the Alpine, and we had to descend to the lake to get to Forester Cabin. And for some reason, I don't know why they dropped us off there. It was money or something. But we were with a very experienced mountain guide, Willie Feaster, I think was our guide, or Rudy Gersh maybe. And, you know, I was a bit sketched out. You know, it was about 30 centimeters, stiff, slabby snow. It was a bit touchy. You could see there was little, you know, it was touchy. It was windy. It was snowing. It was, had all the red flags going. It was steep, but it was heavily treed. And I was like, oh man, how are we going to get down this? And he goes, we'll use the trees as a handrail. And so we worked our way down the terrain, and using the trees as a handrail, and that's something that's stuck in my brain, and that's something I do all the time. So I'll just talk about descending now a little bit. I ski tour with the same people all the time pretty much, and every now and then we'll take somebody with us, and we'll go to ski, and that person will just blow it, just go ski down, and they're gone, and they get split up, and like, what was that? So when we ski, the first person to go is actually the one that's being the most generous to the group, because you're only going to ski a short way down. You're going to find a place where you can see further down. You never go past where you can see. So depending on the length of the run, first person's going to go down, and I like to stop fairly soon, because if the slope goes, I don't want to be too low on it because the avalanche will be bigger by the time it hits me. So the first person goes a short way down, 5-10 turns, whatever, not farther than you're out of sight, and to a point where you can see further down, where you have good clear vision down. Then you stop, you pull into a tree in a safe spot. Now, when you stop in the middle of an avalanche path to watch your other buddy ski, your chances of him triggering something and a slide coming are good, you know. So when you stop, it has to be a significant tree. It has to be big enough that, you know, you're not just going to get raked by it. You have to get close to it. You have to get right up to it. If it's from me to that tree, that post, then a slide comes, well, I'm gone. So you need to be right beside it, up to it, parallel, ready. You have to be thinking, if a slide comes, am I going to be able to stay here? Am I going to be able to grab that tree? Another very intelligent guy told me, put your head against the tree, like that. Like if the slide comes, you don't want to be like this and bam. So these are some safety things that, you know, and I do them, and I do them all the time. Like I don't stop in the middle of a slide path, watch my buddies. Oh yeah, I'll just stand here. I'd be able to get to that tree. No, I work my way into a tree and make sure I'm anchored there. It's not going to be pleasant if it does go and you have to, you know, hang on. So what happened there? Okay, so you're at the top of 2000. Now you have lots of options. And what are you thinking about here? What are you? Huh?
Cement mixer.
What?
The cement mixer.
The cement mixer. You're thinking about it. Well, on the right day, yeah, it's awesome. You know, the skis are shorter now, so it's easier to get out. Yeah, so these are all, like, I kind of color-coded these things, you know. You want to traverse out here and ski the main line. It's pretty intimidating. It's big. It's steep. It's gully. The ways to ski it are use the terrain. You know, if you're going to do it, cross this thing super high or go up here and come down from above and be on the ridge. Be on the ridge here. When you drop into this gully, lots of times I want to ski this line here. That's one of my favorite lines because it's got trees on it. It's on a ridge. These other lines, you know, the main gullies, yeah, you want to ski down the middle of the main gully? Go ahead. But I mean, if you're wrong, it's over. think about when you drop in, what's the worst could happen if it goes? And you have some idea of the sense of the snowpack because you read the terrific bulletin. So is it 20 deep? Is it 30 deep? Is it 50 deep? Is there a surface water layer at 50 centimeters? And, forget it. Not even going there. I'm over in 2001 in the trees. Or I'm skiing this ridge line down until I get here and then maybe this line. Or from here I'll ski down to here and then drop into these trees here. Or 2001, maybe I ski the whole ridge. The thing is, when you get to the top, what are you thinking about when you get up to the top and you're taking your skins off? What kind of things do you do now? You have your plan, you're looking at it, you went up there. What are some of the things you're going to consider?
What those Larry's been doing on touring up.
Are you an avalanche or? Yeah, what's changed? What's the weather doing? What are the things of the conditions that you're thinking about? They were up there for 10 minutes. What are the big 3 things that can change when you're out there? Hey? Temperature. Is it warming up? Is it getting close to 0? 0 is a huge red flag. 0 degrees. What am I even doing here? Wind. Is the wind moving the snow? Has it moved it around? Has it taken this beautiful powder and made a little stiff slab on the top so now it's all slabby and sensitive and touchy? And precip. Temperature, wind, precip. The same things we thought about in 1977, turns out they're still the most important things. So yeah, there's 2,000 foot, or 2001, so that's 2,000 foot, that's the up track. 2001 is a very acceptable place to ski most of the time, unless it's, really sensitive red conditions. This place works out for the most of the time. Now, when you're skiing, you start here, first guy stops here, next guy maybe drops down a little bit further. There's a big, sort of super steep section. I think it's right there, right, Tyler?
A little bit to your left.
Over here?
I don't know. There you go.
Anyway, there is skiers left in the main line. There's a kind of a drop off that you need to either go very far left of or stay right of. There's plenty of room in there though. The line down the middle that goes into that steeper area. This line and then the ridge and just here is great. You end up at a nice little bench down below. It's a pretty safe area. It's flat for you to group up and reconsider. And then if there's this big ridge here. If you drop over this side of it, this is quite steep in here. Like if you ski this line here and get sucked in by this beautiful open slope right to here, well, you got a bit of a climb to get back to here. And if you go further down here, it gets a bit steeper. You get into these steeper pitches down here, steeper terrain, lower elevation. Anybody can think of why sometimes lower elevations are a little more hazardous? More crust, more rain, more crust, more layers. Anyways, the exit here, a lot of people will come here and exit stage right across this quite steep area, but honestly, you get to the bottom and just hang a right and just walk. You'll end up at the bottom of Fishbowl with still be have enough juice to get back to the ski resort. So this is 2,000 foot. We talked a little bit about this. Now, when you start your run, when you start skiing, like I say, you have to be thinking avalanche. You have to be like the first couple turns, you should be ski cutting it with an exit, with speed. Your first turn in there shouldn't be like, oh, I'm ski powder. It should be like, is there going to be an avalanche here? Ski cutting is a bit of an aggressive thing. You can't just tippy-toe in there. You got to have speed. You got to make a deep turn, and you got to have an exit plan. So if it does go, and I'm a little bit in it, where am I going to go? I'm going to exit stage left or stage right. And when you're ski cutting, you have to penetrate to the layer. So if it's 30 deep, you have to get your skis down to that 30 deep. If you just tippy toe across the top, you might not get it until you get to a sweeter spot. If you want to punch it out of there, penetrate, make that turn deep, and then and keep the speed to get out. If you go in and you do that turn and you stop, well, you're blowing it. That's not how you do it. These are techniques that you learn, I think. I don't know how I learned them. I just did. But they're not for the faint of heart, and you have to be a strong skier. The other thing, when you're dropping into your line, watch these little videos that show pictures of people getting caught in avalanches. I Googled one before I came here. It's a little videos of 5 different people getting caught. And they all kind of do the same thing. They're la-di-da. They have no situational awareness. They're not expecting it. And their first turn, they trigger an avalanche, and their next turn is right into it. So they make that first turn, it pops, and then they make the next turn into the debris. Like they are not thinking. Every time you drop into a nice line, you should be thinking avalanche. You should be thinking avalanche the whole time you're out there in the backcountry, all the time. It never leaves my mind. To be honest, there's a few different routes, and they don't look like much in this photo, but those are big lines. Those are long routes. Yeah, I mean, you're at the top of 2,000 foot, and what's the worst could happen? Well, there's those gullies at the bottom, and fuck around and find out. A couple guys, I think this was the bowl. They entered here. The whole thing went. The photographer was right there. The skier was there, and they both ended up down there in that. And yeah, spent a few months in hospital, but survived. So there's been no fatalities in the fishbowl. As a dog handler, I was called out to a lot of rescues over the years, and they all turned out to be recoveries. So it doesn't always end well. You go from the best, most euphoric thing ever to your worst nightmare. So you got to think about it all the time when you're out there. Just keep aware. Don't let your guard down. And if you're smart, you can enjoy some great days. But keep your wits about you. Keep thinking. Evaluate all the time. Have a plan. Watch for changes. Have an idea what the Snowpack's doing out there, and join your plan with the condition. Don't take on something big when the snow conditions just don't allow it. Ski cutting, we talked a little bit about, go find these things. Go find the avalanche. Pick a small slope. You should know what you're looking for. You should know, okay, is it 10 deep, 15 deep? If it's 70 deep, don't go looking for it. No. Up to about 30 is generally manageable if the snow's not too stiff or too dense or too wet or hard. Hard slabs, yeah, no, I'm not going out ski cutting hard slabs because they tend to not listen to me. They tend to not react at the point of where I can initiate it. They wait till you're in the middle, and then because they're hard, they break uphill of you and they take you with them. And a short ride on a hard wind slab, a lot of times hard slabs will move really fast, really right away, and then slam you into things. So, but again, when you're out there, try and find instabilities. Find a steep little short slope somewhere where a little rollover or something, and try ski cutting. Hit it hard a few times. Now, terrain can be tricky in that sometimes where you want to ski cut it's leading you in the wrong direction. You're ski cutting where you want to go, but then in front of you it gets steeper and it gets higher above you. So if the slope's moving up above you, you don't want to ski into something that's So now you got to go around the other side and come back. Don't ski in underneath something. I can't really explain it. Don't get yourself into a problem that doesn't exist. But if you're out there skiing, if it's going to go, like, you find it than it finds you. Yeah, that's about all I had to say.
Questions, anyone, for while he's up here? Some things you've seen?
You said that the biggest factor you're considering is wind, precipitation, and
Temperature.
sorry.
Precip, snowfall, wind, and temperature.
How come visibility isn't a factor, or as much of a factor that you weigh in?
Well, visibility doesn't necessarily affect the snowpack. I think that's what I was meaning, that those are the conditions that can change the snowpack very quickly. Rising temperature, wind absolutely will move snow and make a slab like that. And then heavy snowfall or snowfall of any kind can, increase the hazard. Visibility, that's a whole nother ballgame. But I'll give a talk on Lost Boys Pass next time, maybe. But yeah, visibility can complicate things because you can't see where you are and you can't see what's above you. And yeah, for sure.
That's the reason I'm definitely get out of something is if this changes to go up there.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I would definitely get out of something. I was on the way up somewhere and the visibility changed.
Yeah.
That would be kind of first indication to me of like something isn't going right here, weather conditions wise, and you need to get out before it's too hard to see what's going on.
Before you get lost, yes, can be problematic. I was ski touring with a group on a Bluebird day at Lake Louise, and we were going up the Purple Bowl, and in the spring they have big thunderstorms there roll in, and so it was all Bluebird and everything, and we couldn't see it coming because we were below the ridge, and we popped up on the ridge top of Purple Bowl. There's not a lot of trees or anything. Big whiteout thunderstorm, like a squall, moved on us. All of a sudden, no one could see anything, and we were only from here to the bathrooms away from our exit point, but it was hard to find, and I ended up falling off the cornice, and then I knew we found it. So yeah, no, it can really, visibility can screw you up in a hurry, especially in the Alpine. Well, thank you for having me. Be safe out there.
All right, so that'll wrap us up for the night. Thank you for coming. Big hand to our speakers tonight. Thank you very much. Thanks to Bobby for hosting us. Our next day of the Snowpack will be January 14th on the Tuesday. We just had to bump it this time. Our speakers will be the South Rockies field team again, talking about what's happening in the Snowpack a month from now. And then we're going to have, I think, Steve Kite, a local ski guy, talk about how to ski around at Tunnel Creek. So hopefully see you then. Thanks for coming out. And yeah, have a good and safe next month. Oh yeah, forgot. Because you guys all stayed, we got swag for you. So, Duncan, come on up and hand out the swag. So
We got tedious yet safe swag. So just come with self-serve. There's some stickers. There's some hazard rating cards. There's some companion rescue cards. Should be in your front pocket every day you go outside. And a few stickers. Who likes stickers? Come on! Yay, stickers! I need more enthusiasm! Yay! Exactly! Come on! Come on! Okay, self-service over here. Go.